So this is a very late upload from my end. So this is one of those happy Sundays when I took our Bubbles out for his first trip into the hills. He doesn't even know where we are going today. It was a bit sleepy, but at the same time, I think by the time we reach the hills, all his sleep would be over and he would be viewing the wonderful views all around with his exciting and surprising eyes. So there you can see this is a check post in Meghalaya before entering the proper Meghalaya where all the no COVID certificates are being checked, and you also have to enter your identity details and where you are going, where you will be staying, and when you will be returning. All these details they will be taking before you enter proper Meghalaya. This is somewhere around Bornihad. So that's where all these cars of tourists are waiting in queue to get the certificates. It took us like 5 minutes or so to get everything done, and we started back on our way into Meghalaya. So by the time we reached our hotel, it was quite dark. It was almost evening when we crossed into Meghalaya, and so most of the video clips are from the next day. There you can see our Bubbles singing and playing with his toy, which is a tube of face cream. So that's what he loves playing with. It's usually a pack of face cream, a packet of any of the stuffs that we bring for him. So instead of the proper toys, he likes playing with the covers and packets. So this is early next morning, and that's the view from the balcony of our room, and there you can see all the pine forests all around, and just look at the morning bliss falling onto us on the balcony. There you can see our cars are parked here. I'll just take a quick stroll around the hotel and show you around how beautiful and pristine the place is. So that's the hotel, and let me just take a stroll around the park. So the name of this place is Lindari Lodge, and the prices are fairly reasonable. I mean, this is one of the cheapest options I've ever found in Meghalaya. Rooms are good, clean, and you have also the option of getting good home cooked hot food that they cooked right away after you place an order. And look at the view from around. You have already seen, right? The charges of room starts from like 800 and goes up to 2100. The room that we stayed in, that cost us like 1500 bucks, and for that amount of money it was more than enough value for money. And I am also marking this place for any of my future trips to Shillong, and would be fairly high on the recommendation list for anyone who asks me for a place to stay in Shillong. It's around 10 to 15 minutes right from Police Bazaar, which is like the crowdest place in Shillong. You get to stay in the lap of Mother Nature, and then also not being far away from the center of Shillong. So you get the best of both the worlds. If you want to do shopping, you can just quickly take your car and go towards Police Bazaar, And if you want to view the places around this homestay, you have more than enough options. You can take a small trek around the hotel and get a lot of fun. There was also a I could hear the sound of a waterfall nearby. I mean, if I would have gone alone, I would have tried to visit the waterfall, but then my baby was with me, so I just took a small stroll around the park, and there you can see the mighty tower of the owner of this property. That's my dream car. So from the homestay early next morning, not exactly early, it was like 11:30 or 12 by the time we left the homestay, and this is the way towards Cherrapunji. So our initial plan was to go to Cherrapunji and then view the places around there and then come back. We stopped somewhere in the midst to feed our bubbles because he was getting hungry. And once he was fed, I mean, he again started viewing everything with his curious eyes. Just look at him. He would not miss a single car moving around, and I mean, it's very difficult to get his concentration towards the camera while capturing a video. So the first point was towards Shillong Peak, and while you are on the way to Shillong Peak, you would see these tiny vegetable stalls with the fresh vegetable that would just make you stop and get something for yourself. Just look at the, I mean, look at the loads of potatoes. Just look at the color. It looks so clean. I mean, the skin is completely transparent. I mean, if you go to purchase potato from the market, it it's next to impossible that you would see these colors. And then there you have a different type of chilies, coarse chilies. You also have, I mean, fresh cabbage, tomato, and then these are called Shillong onions, I think. Yeah, and these you usually have raw with whatever other food and rice you are having, and the taste is just become. I mean, taste will become like super awesome. Apart from that, so we got a lot of vegetables. I mean, we bought some potato. I think it was a pack of 5 or 6 kilos, which cost us like 130 bucks. Then we also got the spring onions because it's one of the best things that I love about Meghalaya. Whenever I'm in Meghalaya, I would want to have this with my normal meal. We also bought some uh, some of the cauliflower, tomato, chili, whatever else we could get and lay our hands on. We got. We also got those radishes. So these are this huge radish that we got. So with a truckload of vegetable, I was on my way out. I mean, it was not. We are not done with the shopping. So this was my part of the shopping, and then you would also see Olivia doing her part of it. So all in all, a very fresh meal was going to be cooked today at home. So when we returned to the car with all the chopped vegetables, we saw that Boo had already made a new friend. So this was another family which had again come for a visit to Shillong Peak, and you can see our Bubbles is so happy to meet his new friend. This is the thing about babies. They know when they see other babies and they would try to act in a completely different way other than what they would usually do with the adults around them. I mean, they have this own baby language in which they talk to other babies and they're able to understand what the other baby means. They would allow them to do things that they would not do to other people. Just look at them trying to touch each other's hands and faces and trying to know each other. I mean, he would not do this to a normal other adults, right? And just look at them. I mean, it's pure happiness when you see two babies interacting. They are noticing each other's every move. I mean, you might see them looking towards something else, but he is completely aware of the other tiny human beings' presence around him. So these are all the vegetable fields from which these shops are getting the vegetables. So there you can see there are this cabbage and cauliflower plants, and similarly the entire expanse around this place is filled with all these different sort of vegetables like cabbage, cauliflower I already mentioned. Then you have radish, potato, tomato, chili. Everything is being produced right here, right in front of you. So we couldn't go right into Shillong Peak because again, because of these COVID restrictions, now a lot of issues have come up with the tourist places around Shillong. So you have to pay a huge amount of money to visit any of the sites. So this is somewhere between, I mean, on the way itself between Shillong and Cherrapunji. We didn't go to Cherrapunji, by the way. So we just, I think we would have crossed like 15 kilometers from Shillong, but then the road had become, it was not a proper road on which we could travel, and especially because Olivia was also expecting, we are expecting our second baby, so we didn't think it was safe to travel through that route the entirety of the distance till Cherrapunji. So we turned back, and this is one of those places where we finally had our lunch. I mean, it was fairly late. It was around 5 p.m. that we finally had lunch. So we would quickly have our lunch and then we would head back towards Guwahati. So it was a small and cozy little trip. We didn't get to visit a lot of, I mean, most of the tourist attraction places, but at the same time, we enjoyed the weather and Bubbles got to see the first glimpse of hills. So that more than enough compensated for the trip. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.